Hello again everybody, Kathy Williams here from Brisbane, Australia, presenting another one in my series of instructional videos, this time by request. I was messaged this morning by someone who wanted some tips on the altissimo register, and I'm very happy to comply. Should you have any requests, please let me know and I will attempt to make a video about it. Okay, now the altissimo register is actually just the lower register of the clarinet, but with a few overtones. So what I mean is that you may notice with an instrument like the trumpet, I mean, it's only got 3 valves and we've got how many fingers, but the way a trumpet works is that it uses a system of overtones. If you were to find a fairly, sort of long bottle, with a maybe a empty wine bottle, you may notice that when you blow over the top of it, you'll get a low sound. Now, if you were to increase the volume of air going across the top of the bottle, you may notice a slightly higher sound. Now, that's what's called an overtone. And if you studied rudimentary physics, the overtone series starts with the octave, and then it overblows the 5th, and then it overblows the 4th. This is rudimentary physics. But you see, those instruments are conical bore, meaning that they start off, the bore starts off small and ends up big. I mean, by the trumpet, because you blow into a mouthpiece this big and the end of the trumpet's about that big. Clarinet is actually different from all the other instruments because it's exactly the same width here as it is here. It's a cylindrical bore. And the uniqueness of this cylindrical bore is that we don't use the usual overtone series. And you would already know this. You play a low E and you stick the register on, you get a B. That's actually a 12th. That's because the clarinet it skips overtones. So instead of overblowing at the octave, it overblows at the octave in the 5th, which is the 12th. And then it doesn't overblow again at the 4th. I can show you this because if I practice this on the clarinet because it helps improve my altissimo register as you need. You play with the overtone series on the clarinet. So okay, so you can play with the overtone series of a clarinet. And you'll see that it doesn't overblow at the octave, then the 5th and the 4th. So enough of the physics lesson. What I really meant to say is that the altissimo are just overtones of lower notes. And in fact, you've probably already played notes in the altissimo register. They're called squeaks. So, when you're trying to play a D and out comes, that's actually an altissimo note, if you think about it. So that's an example of the overtone system, is that when you play a D and you squeak, it actually comes out as a top F. So the altissimo register is already within your grasp, you just don't know it yet. And using the overtone series of the clarinet, I'll show you how you can get a really nice sound in your altissimo. Now, the first note of the altissimo, if you disregard the top C as being clarion, now the first note of the altissimo is the C sharp, and make sure you don't put the E flat key down because that's way too sharp. Okay, so that's your C sharp, but really, that C sharp is only overblowing your E. Look at this. There's your E. So your C sharp is only overblowing your E. Now, if you use this particular exercise, what you do is you really centre that E, and then you gradually lift the finger off, so that the processes that get you playing a nice E will also get you playing a nice C sharp. So get yourself a really, really nice sound on the E, really centred, know really where it is. And keep practicing that until you're really, really confident. And also learn what the C sharp feels like in the mouth. I like to think I centre the tone in a little area of my mouth, the upper part of my mouth, just behind the teeth. And that's where I tend to centre most of my sound, but that's just a theoretical concept. So, but you really have to centre that C sharp, because the next overtone from the C sharp is actually a G, of course, but with the G you would put on the E flat key because it'd be flat. So you really need to centre that C sharp and, you know, get yourself a good low E and know where your C sharp is orally. So. And it's jumping ahead, but you really need to do that exercise on an E flat clarinet and a bass clarinet, because the difficulties are about tenfold. But we'll come to that. Okay, so you've got yourself a good C sharp. Brilliant. Let's get ourselves a nice D, and of course D is only an overblown F. So get yourself a nice F. Again, learn where that D is, because there is an overtone, which is actually, it's actually a top A flat. So give yourself a nice F, and also if you just gently pull the finger away, it doesn't pop. So because it can pop. See how that pops back? Comes out much nicely. Okay, so you got yourself a good D. Same thing for the E flat. Your E flat is just an overblown F sharp. So. And also realise there's a couple of fingerings for E flat, because it might not be you might not be able to actually hit that from another note. Say if you were going from, say, a D and you suddenly had to hit an E flat. Very difficult. There's another fingering for an E flat, and that's this. Although I often lift my finger half up because it's a bit flat. But so that's quite a good fingering. So. And the thing about the altissimo is, because you're dealing with the upper overtones of the clarinet, is there are several different fingerings.